Imagine you're sitting in a quiet place, everything around you normal, but in front of you is a person smiling, an innocent smile. And you don't know that behind this smile hides one of the most heinous crimes that have shaken Egypt. Our story today is about a very ordinary woman, your neighbor, your relative, or perhaps your colleague, but circumstances and life pushed her to the point of no return, the point at which she transformed from victim to murderer. Her name is Fadia, a girl from the city of Damanhour. She grew up in a middle-class family, known among her neighbors for being quiet, taciturn, and respectful. She only dreamed of a simple home and a small family living in peace. Her life began like any other girl's. She was engaged to a young man, but after marriage, she discovered that he was selfish and only cared about himself. He didn't appreciate her hard work or her feelings. Over time, she separated from him, shouldering the responsibility of a young child. The divorce wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a difficult life journey. After a period of loneliness and exhaustion, Saeed entered her life, a young man from the same city. He seemed different from her first husband, a hard-working, kind person, and he seemed to want to start a new life with her. She agreed and married him, hoping this marriage would be a new beginning that would make her forget the pain she had experienced. Unfortunately, what Saeed initially appeared to be was only a temporary mask. The truth was that he was a drug addict, mired in financial troubles and dangerously volatile. Disagreements quickly surfaced, with hurtful words, occasional beatings, and insults in front of her daughter. But Fadia persevered, trying to preserve her home and her image in the eyes of her family and society. She thought that patience would change him, but the opposite happened. He became more violent, and his addiction worsened. One day, Fadia's family discovered a dark side of Saeed's life, and his image began to crumble in front of everyone. Fadia felt embarrassed and ashamed, as if she had placed herself and her daughter in a hole from which there was no way out. At that point, a dangerous idea began to form in her mind, the idea of getting rid of him once and for all. It wasn't just a whim, it began as a plan. She decided to use his weak point against him, drugs. In the first attempt, she spiked his food and drinks, hoping he would quietly disappear from her life. But fate didn't go her way. Saeed survived, but continued to harm her, becoming even more cruel after he began to question her actions. But the cup had already run its course. On a day fraught with conflict, their argument escalated until she lost her temper. Saeed was drunk and under the influence of drugs, moving slowly, shouting and hurling insults. Suddenly, as if his anger had accumulated for years, she grabbed a sharp object and dealt him a fatal blow to the neck. In an instant, Saeed fell to the ground, motionless. Fadia realized she had done it, and that her entire life had changed in seconds. She tried to pretend that what had happened was an accident or the result of a normal quarrel, but the forensic medicine department had a different opinion. Tests revealed traces of drugs in his body, a broken bone in his neck, and even traces of her hair were found in his fist, confirming that he had tried to resist before dying. With the overwhelming evidence, the story she'd tried to weave collapsed, and she found herself transformed from a woman who'd dreamed of safety into a murderer awaiting trial. Fadia's story is not just a crime, it's a mirror that reflects how psychological pressure and persistent violence can transform anyone from a victim into a criminal. It's a reminder that if pain is left to accumulate and go unresolved, it can explode in the worst possible way, one that can never be reversed.